This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your Baconsale host. Yeah. Look, can we talk? What's the deal with reboots and drive-through lines that move like boarding group 9? We get no respect from Twitter. Take my wife, please. She still quotes Hot Pockets. You might be a redneck if here's your sign. Well, excuse me. We're not fat. We're fluffy with category shows. Get her done. Clap if you agree. And we used to record shows. We still do, but we used to do too. Yeah. Welcome to Baconsale.
Woo, woo, woo. Get off the stage!
We got a heckler.
Joke thief!
He's an industry plant. We all know.
Welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Ken.
And I'm Zack.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last episode. What would Baconsale do? 5 or 6? We're not quite sure.
5. Well,
4 or 5.
2025.
2025, yeah.
It's a little, we're in Fast and Furious territory with the naming. And
Yeah.
It's a little tough.
Went off the rails.
I always like validation, as we know.
That's why you read quotes directed towards yourself?
Yeah, well, Steve Hansen has my back and says, Zach, a man must sneeze like he means it. Hashtag sneeze twins. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the validation. Mm-hmm. Speaking of validation, Sam Ma, he posted the funniest thing on Twitter. He says, driving around with this picture on my CarPlay screen was making me laugh so hard. I'm surprised I didn't get in a crash. And it was the image.
The thumbnail. Yeah.
He had like a screenshot of his CarPlay.
The Zack Beast.
And it was, that.
The smile with the dead eyes.
I think that
How'd you
really,
make that?
I really took some people. Okay, here we go. Behind the scenes. That is literally an impossible photo because I took I should post them on social media.
You should, on Patreon.
The deadest photo I could take.
Like a natural face.
Biggest smile, and then I used my glasses as the line to cut them together. And so it's literally an impossible.
That's
image.
Mr. Beast's real face, though.
That's
the
what
impossible
he does.
smile.
He doesn't smile with his eyes.
I don't understand why he's a thing. If you had a face like that, why would you put it on every thumbnail? I don't get it. Rachel Crump just says, truly appreciated the Bobcat Goldthwait and Shaggy impersonation.
Thank you.
Is that Shaggy or Shakira?
It's both.
Yeah. So
I have to admit, though, I was very disappointed in my Shaggy impersonation.
Me too.
I was listening to it. You were me or you?
In yours.
Yeah, because I went to it. I listened to it, and I'm like, Joel, come on, you could do better than that. But yeah, I failed.
The thing that made me laugh actually happened yesterday, following this show that we recorded, where we're all doing the Shaggy impressions. There is a guy who ferries the teenagers from their church youth activity up and down the road in a golf cart.
Yep.
And for some reason, he's pumping tunes, and I just hear him go down the street, and I hear the Doppler effect of Mr. Boombastic, really fun. I'm like, are you listening to Shaggy?
My favorite thing is that Joel had never actually listened to the lyrics of It Wasn't Me.
Yeah, don't do that.
20 years later.
Shocked. I remember that was the first song that I had a lady that used to tend me after school, and she actually was like, hey, you know what that song's saying? She was the first person to challenge lyrics in my life, and I went, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
That's so sweet.
But that's not what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today, Zach?
Well, we're talking about stand-up comedians.
Stand-up comedians? They're funny. We're gonna explain comedy on Baconsale, which is always a great idea.
What's the deal?
We're giving their whole set, right? We're just going to read their whole set in the way that they would.
Exactly.
Hilarious.
Hey,
exactly.
At this point, we made a comic strip show, a newspaper comic strip show work. Mm-hmm. We can do anything.
Oh, yeah. But what's the deal with stand-up comedy? Well, let me tell you. Stand-up comedy is a performance directed to a live audience where the performer stands on a stage and delivers humorous and satirical monologues, sometimes incorporating physical acts. These are usually composed with rehearsed scripts, but often include varying degrees of live crowd interaction or crowd work. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I do improv comedy.
Yeah.
Improv comedy is a group of comedians making it up as they go on stage and doing scenes and games and all that.
With suggestions from the audience.
With suggestions from the audience. I can't tell you how many times people are like, hey, you still doing that stand-up? Oh. And it's been going on for so long that at this point I'm like, yes. I just say yes.
How do you, tell
me a joke, and I'm like, that's not how it works.
Does that bother you?
It's a thing where they say do stand-up, and I'm like, I don't do stand-up. I'm not that brave.
Could you?
There's certainly different categories. But so I don't think that they're the same skill set. But yeah, could you?
I have, truth be told, stand-up terrifies me because it is you alone on stage with a microphone.
Yeah.
In improv, when you're doing a scene, if you're not feeling it, if things are going well, you can step back, let other people
Someone
go
may
forward.
save you.
Yeah, and there's support. Stand-up, it's just you, and that terrifies me.
If you swear at the audience a lot, it's apparently hilarious.
Depends on how tall you are.
I'm blue at BYU. I'm not blue in comedy.
Well, there's also, I don't know, like an unwritten hierarchy. Like
Of
do you think
stand-up?
like we have comedy,
Oh yeah, improv is like mocked relentlessly, like because people do improv.
and I feel
classes
like
and-
stand up. I don't know. Is it elite or is it like movie comedians?
I think sketch comedy is probably the highest rated, just because SNL has that foothold of like, sketch
Oh
comedy.
yeah, I guess you.
Where you're writing sketches and rehearsing and playing characters. I think stand-up's just below that, and then probably improv is.
I think stand-up has the most voice, though, because most of these guys and girls, they are doing podcasts now. And their podcasts are generally huge.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there are other podcasts other than us.
Well, and
Doubtful.
the general progression of a stand-up comedian is they do open mic, which
Yeah.
is just they have, an open mic, and they let people sign up for slots, and they go in there and do some jokes, and if they do well, then they can be an opener, and they can open for like some bigger comic, and then they could be a headliner, and then they get a TV deal,
Oh.
and then they'll get a movie deal.
You missed a step.
What's that?
Cruises.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yes. You do cruises, which
I've never been on a cruise. How are the comics?
Fair to bad.
Okay. Like the
fine.
food? Is it like a buffet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like every once in a while you go, "Oh, that was actually really good."
Yeah. Yes, but even I was going to say, let's bring it back a little further, because before stand-up comedy, which late 19th century is kind of when that became a thing.
Yeah.
But you had like stump speeches, which people do these monologues. You have court jesters, like looking even further back. Vaudeville is where stand-up comedy kind of came from, where they were doing like these musical acts, and then they would do kind of comedy in between, and then it became like, oh, people were like that comedy. Charles Farrar Brown.
Oh, Rocher.
He was known,
Chocolate.
better known by his stage name. You guys obviously Artemis Ward. You guys.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, it's more like Artemis Ward.
He was around.
Sorry.
He was around in
It's
like
the jokes and Baconsale.
1860s, I think, is when he was doing his shtick. But he is considered by many to be America's first stand-up comedian, and it was basically. Can I say this? He was basically the Larry the Cable Guy of his time, because his character was an illiterate rube with Yankee common sense, quote unquote.
Okay.
And so then the first documented use of the word stand-up was in 1911, describing a musical act. But then after that, it became more associated with comedy, where they do, like, stand-up comedians, that's what they do. They literally stand up and tell jokes, and it's them and a microphone and a water bottle and a stool. That's basically all they got. Some come out with props. In fact, there are various subgenres of stand-up comedy where you get prop comedy, deadpan comedy, insult comedy, impressionist or impersonators. I never know which one to say. Self-depreciation puns. Like there's a variety of subgenres within that. So comedian will come up with a routine. They'll have bits. They'll usually have some space where they can crowd work a bit and warm up the crowd a bit more. So
Rank these: observational comedy, one-liners, crowd work.
well, because the crowd work.
Observational comedy one.
Because that's probably the majority of comedy,
An
right?
observational. That's the thing of like a Jerry Seinfeld type where it's like, hey, did you ever notice this thing? That's
Yeah.
funny.
The other day I went to the store.
Yes.
Yada, yada, yada.
That's
Okay.
observational. One-liners is
One-liners.
like the clever puns or
They catch you
clever
off guard.
lines. Yeah, like, more like a Mitch Hedberg or something like
Yes.
that, or Stephen Wright.
Dimitri Martin.
Dimitri Martin
Yes.
as well. And so that's kind of a one-liner thing where they say one line and it's just like, wow, that's kind of funny. And then crowd work is kind of what you do in between.
when you don't have any talent.
Well, no, because crowd work takes talent, because
When you don't, it's when you can't write. That's right.
Crowd
No, it's when you're funny, you're witty, but maybe you can't write. You don't plan.
or it's
Or
that
nothing has
it's-
actually happened to you in your life, so you have no experience.
It's the improv thing where it's also a way to kind of tame the crowd. I say that in a weird way, but hecklers are the worst.
Yeah.
And so like it's kind of a way to prevent that, or to interact with them to shut them down and take control again.
Or they're industry plants. I'm serious. Hecklers,
Well,
especially in a modern
yes.
social media area, they are absolutely planted on purpose.
I think so too. Because they're made for YouTube, right? So you can watch those, comedian gets back at hecklers.
That way they can plan ahead what they're going to say in the
Yeah.
heckle.
Joel, I feel like comedians are the most tortured souls out there. I think that these people are generally depressed, and that's why they're so funny.
There's definitely a type, the tears of a clown, as they call it,
Yeah,
where it's
indeed.
like they're funny and then they're kind of like off stage, they're having a real hard time. Like a lot of these comedians come from broken homes or hard times, and
Sad.
but at the same time, some of them don't. Some of them are having a great time and just have just enjoy themselves. But it is
Yeah.
weird to look at them and be like, wow, I'm glad they can make other people laugh because they're having such a hard time. Here's some quick world records and facts for you guys. Do you know who holds the world record for achieving most laughs per minute during an act?
No.
That's immeasurable.
Dan
but-
Cook.
Phyllis Diller.
What?
If you don't know who Phyllis Diller is, older 60s, 70s kind of thing, but she's actually pretty funny.
Oh, her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd know her
She kind
voice.
of looks like Cruella DeVille.
She kind of does, and like if you'd know her voice, it
But,
was
like, not in an
it's been
insulting
mimicked
way.
in so many things. Like I think she might be in one of the stop animation Christmas movies. I know she's in Mad Monster Party, but it's
Yeah.
like ha ha. Anyway, that's her. That's my Phyllis Diller.
That's a
impersonation.
really good impression, actually.
Thank you. World record for most jokes.
She's the queen in a Bug's
World
Life.
record for most jokes told in an hour
Dan Cook.
is an Australian comic named Taylor Goodwin.
Okay.
I watched the highlight reel. He really was just going for a record here.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just punchline, set up, punchline, set up, punchline. And the world record for highest gross from a single stand-up performance,
Kevin Hart.
Ricky Gervais. with his
Really?
tour Armageddon. His one performance in the Hollywood Bowl on May 6, 2023 garnered $1,790,206.50.
Woo. Well,
That is a lot for a
Yeah.
stand-up comedian. So yeah, just some random facts for you guys about stand-up comedians. It is an art form. Like I really
Yeah.
do feel like if someone does it well. Like I forgot bad stand-up exists because I've been watching a lot of good stand-up until I watched this kind of open mic night on a channel I'd rather not say. And it just got to the point where I was like, oh, that's right. Some stand-up comics are terrible.
Channel you'd rather not say?
But yes, we have a series of categories we'd like to go through now. We've only gone a few here, but there's so many we could have done.
Definitely a chance for a part two.
Yes, because I have a huge list of comedians I did not choose. And as I was doing the research for this, first of all, thank you guys, because it allowed me to watch a lot of clips of a lot of stand-up. I used to do that quite often, where like I'd come home for lunch in college, and they'd have like Comedy Central playing the blender or blend up or whatever they called it, where it was just like small
Chunks.
couple minute bits from every
yeah.
comedian. And I loved it. I don't do it as much anymore. So watching this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys.
I mean, that's what YouTube is for now. It's just there.
Before YouTube, SiriusXM was where I was able to hear a lot, like road trips. You like subscribe to SiriusXM. They had a comedian's channel that had bits.
I hate to say this. I feel poor, but Pandora also had a good comedy channel.
Pandora for sure. So because it would just do the tracks.
Yeah.
Remember when people used to listen to comedians on like a record or
Weird.
a CD? That's kind of strange now, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way I've actually ever heard Eddie Murphy's comedy is in audio form. I've never seen a
Your
video.
poor ears.
Yeah, right, right. Bad road trips with people.
That's my Eddie Murphy impersonation.
And people who should have known better. But then I actually hate to say this, and I feel bad, but if you're into stand-up comedy, Netflix is the place to be right now.
I know.
Yeah, the
Netflix has
comedy
all the
specials.
best
Yeah.
stand-up comedy specials.
HBO Max also has some, or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, well,
But-
HBO's historically,
Yes.
right. That has been the place. If you had an HBO special, you like literally you're in the conversation of George
Right.
Carlin.
Yeah.
But now Netflix has the money, so they're pushing comedians.
And it is
Netflix
nice 'cause
is the place for
Some are just for single comedians. They have some that are just like a bunch of like 30-minute sets from different comedians. You can find out there. There's lots of good comedy.
And then there's those who have like 6 different specials.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But all right, let's move into our first category, which throwback. Start with favorite classic comedian.
Ken, you had an issue with the term classic.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. It's weird how I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, and I watched Bob Hope. I watched Don Rickles.
Yeah.
I watched Jonathan Winters. And all these people that I was like, I wanted to see them perform, Joan Rivers and all these people. But as I was thinking about this and as I watched some of their sets, I went, I'm not laughing.
It's comedy definitely changes. Like
Yeah.
there's a style to the early comedy that the vaudevillian type thing, the insult comedy, that's just not as much anymore.
When I found out that Joan Rivers was like this very notable comedian.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, the lady from the E fashion shows. Well, and then I watched her comedy and I went, oh, I feel bad. I don't like this very much.
Yeah.
It wasn't my speed. But what did you come up with, Kent?
I came up with Stephen Wright. Is
That's a great
he
choice.
considered classic?
I think he could be considered classic now, but it's also, I mean, he was 70s, 80s.
Stephen Wright, he was born in 1955. If you don't know what this guy looks like, just imagine he's got like a 7 head, right? And he's got this afro that shows up on the back of his head. And he walks up unassuming, and he's got this lethargic voice and
He talks
slow.
like this.
Thank you.
The entire time.
The entire
That's
time.
what he talks about.
Almost to the point where like he's reluctant to tell the joke because there will be funny.
I want to get a tattoo of myself, but have it be 2 inches taller.
I mean,
Actually,
yeah.
I screwed that up. I want to get a tattoo of myself all over my whole body, but be 2 inches taller.
So he started in 1979, his comedy career, but really took off in the early 80s on The Tonight Show.
Yes.
To the point where Johnny Carson was so amazed and he loved it so much, he invited him back a week later.
Yep. That's really like, you're going to find this with a lot of these comedians. The Tonight Show is like where comedians went to be discovered.
Yeah. Isn't that so cool? And some of his jokes, I'm about to butcher them.
Go for it.
Because that's what we're going to do on this show. But what's another word for thesaurus? Like, that's the joke.
Yeah. He is a one-liner comic.
I went to a general store, but they wouldn't let me buy anything specific. It's just stuff like that where you're like, but I'm actually thinking about that joke now.
He is one of the few comedians that I literally have on my Plex playlist. Like in my regular musical playlist, every now and then a Stephen Wright joke will come in there.
And somehow, some way, you should hate this guy because it is just one-liners, but it's comforting.
Deadpan one-liners. No emotion.
Guys, is that considered classic even though it's 80s?
I'll give it to you only because he has influenced other comedians. I think other comedians have used his style or used his type, and I think that's why he could be considered classic.
Okay.
Kent classic, nothing pre-1980.
Kent classic. All right, Zach, what about you?
So I was thinking as well, like what classic comedian I could listen to now and have a really good time. And I did lean, and I had struggled a lot because I do like sketch comedy a lot. And as we've talked about, like so many sketch comedians come out of stand-up. And so like, if I liked you in one way, will I like you in another?
Right.
And
Sometimes it translates, sometimes it doesn't.
And I had to go to good old Bob Newhart.
Okay.
I think
that is classic.
Bob Newhart is classic. He was active from 1958 to 2020, apparently. He died in 2024, but he was born in 29, right? So old guy. But if you don't know Bob Newhart, he was on the Bob Newhart show.
And Newhart.
Yeah. And he was also, maybe most notably, he's the dad in Elf.
Yeah.
The elf dad.
People
I think
know him
that's
from that.
maybe like what a modern audience would know him as. But he is one of my favorite types of comedy, which is like the drawn out story.
Yes.
And also he very famously, it was like the one-sided telephone calls.
Yes, that was his shtick. Is he'd have a phone, he'd do the one-sided telephone call, and then throughout it would be a bizarre conversation.
It's always very bizarre. But then a couple of ones that stand out are like he did a bit about what it's like to go to like a bus driver school and how they teach you how to just be awful. There's a really funny bit, and funny enough, how I heard it was on a playlist of Mad Men music. But there is the driving instructor bit that's quite famous of his that was like in the playlist of Mad Men. And I was like, why is this here? And it was, a whole thing. It was fairly long. And I'm like, I can't turn away. This is great. Yeah. So he does tell a story very well. I thought his show was very fun as well. So I enjoyed him there. Both the Bob Newhart show, which is a variety show that started in 1961, short-lived, wasn't around long, but I have seen clips that pop up. But then then there was the Bob Newhart show, which was from 1972 to 1978. I mean, that event, he won a Golden Globe for that. Mm-hmm. And then Newhart from 1982 to 1990.
Which apparently, I was going to say, fantastic finale. It's one of those finales. It's like, I haven't even seen the show. Still awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So a very, very enjoyable deadpan storyteller, and that I have a few of those on my list, but Bob Newhart, still funny today.
So two deadpans. When I went to my favorite classic comedian, there's way too many for me to pick. Like I could have easily done like an Abbott and Costello, who's on first kind of thing. Their act is a little more vaudevillian, a little stand up, but But I did kind of cheat. Of
course you did.
Because I chose the Smothers Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
So Smothers Brothers.
Yeah.
And these are two brothers, Tom and Dick, or Tommy and Dickie, I guess they call each other. But these guys, they were kind of a folk comedy duo. Mm-hmm. So like one played a guitar, one played a bass, and they would sing and they would do comedy. And for example, I have a sample joke from each of my artists.
Okay.
This is just one, two brothers talking show. So he's like, Mom liked you best. Lower your voice. Mom liked you best. Like stuff like that. Little and like Tommy was the kind of the dim-witted one, and then Dickie was the kind of snooty, smart one. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those things where they played so well with each other. Now, this is probably my own bias showing, because my dad was in a tribute cover, I don't know what to call it, called
the Smothers Brothers?
The Other Brothers.
Love it.
Him and his buddy Mark, they would do the routines that they just kind of, cover the versions, like cover songs. They were just doing the same routines, but just like they do it like
Were they good?
word shows and all that. Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
And I got to love songs like Jenny Brown and My Old Man and the Civil War song, just these songs and comedic bits that I got to love by watching my dad do it. It's one of the reasons I think I did comedy. And I actually got to see the Smothers Brothers in concert. I don't know if you want to call it a concert, but I watched them perform in Wendover, like 2020. No,
They were
2006.
live. Oh, okay.
About
Yeah, that makes sense.
2006 or 2007, somewhere right around there. But they were still good, and it is that older style of comedy. It's that setup punchline kind of stuff. But I will also say they had the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, which was a television show, and it was one of the most controversial American TV programs. Like repeatedly threatened to canceled and eventually canceled because they were pushing the boundaries. They took a lot of jabs politically. And also some maybe innuendo type stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's funny. They were considered so controversial. You listen to it now, you're like, no. But
That's everything.
But back then, it was a big deal. So yeah, the Smothers Brothers, I think, are hilarious. And if you haven't heard any of their routines, give them a listen.
All right. Moving on to our next category, better on stage than in film.
Meaning that their stage persona, their stand-up is better than when they tried to make it big in movies or TV.
I think that there are some that go the other way, but
We can
talk about that later.
Say that for the second show.
Okay.
Zach, what do you have?
So this one was tough for me because I do think that in my mind, like I have gone back to see stand up for actors that I like, you know, performers that I like. So you're like, oh, I liked him in this movie. I'll check out their stuff. Oh, that's pretty good. I didn't for years and years did not know that Steve Martin, you know, like he did stand up, absurdist performative stand up, but
not well.
I almost chose him because it's not my flavor of his stand-up, but I do like him in movies. But then I was like, better on stage than film. So what stand-up comic is in movies that I don't care for, but I do find them funny?
Right.
I like self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's fun. And I think that there is
the Conan style, I'm an idiot.
There's a
kind of
couple
comedy.
of if you're having the Mount Rushmore of self-deprecating stand-ups, you have to include Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh,
He doesn't get any respect.
He doesn't get any respect, and he's got the self-deprecating one-liner stuff. He was active from 1936 to 2004, apparently. But I'll tell you what, I don't like Rodney Dangerfield movies.
His films are
at
the
all.
worst.
He's fine in Caddyshack.
Caddyshack is the one exception.
I think that's an exception.
But if you don't know him,
Back to School,
Easy Money,
Ladybugs.
Back to School, Ladybugs,
Ladybugs,
Rover Dangerfield, Meet Wally Sparks. Every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, this is going to be terrible.
because it is the same shtick each time, and he's got this persona that he just portrays. And
Let me just pull a face for the camera,
Yeah.
do the whole thing with the tie, the neck.
Did someone cut his eyelids off? Was he ever able to close his eyes?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But again, I don't mind his comedy. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I think that he definitely has some bits that are quite funny.
he's very self-depreciating.
Yes, very classic, but movies are
It's the stuff like
terrible.
his jokes are along the lines of like, I don't get any respect. When I was a kid, my mom tied a pork chop to my neck to have the dog play with me or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's basically, he just makes fun of himself the whole time.
No, but movies are terrible. So
They are.
What do you
They
got,
are.
Joel?
Better on stage than on film, I actually picked Mike Birbiglia, which if you guys don't know who Mike Birbiglia is,
I can't spell that.
He has a whole bit. He on his first, was it Tonight Show or was it David? It might have been David Letterman. His first bit in the first section, he talks about how no one knows how to spell or say his last name. But he's been active in comedy since 1997. Here's the sample joke. A bear is an intimidating animal. Although I found out recently that the animal that kills the most humans per year is not the bear, it's the hippo. I didn't even know hippos ate humans. I thought they just ate those little white marbles.
Joel, I've never found him funny once in my life.
If
I
you
think he's the
haven't.
most boring person ever to hang out with.
But I was telling you, and the reason I chose him is because he had a kind of a stand-up act. It's a long one, but it's just called Sleepwalk with Me. He talks a story about him sleepwalking. And I listened to it. I think it was on This American Life. He did it. And I was listening to it. I'm like, this is hilarious. And then they made a movie of it called Sleepwalk with Me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as good.
It's not good.
I was like, the stage one is so much better. And that's why I chose it, because I was like, that made me laugh. And he's also appeared in films like Trainwreck, The Fault in Our Stars, Pop Star, A Man Called Otto.
I think with
Orange
a lot
is
of
the New
these
Black.
guys, I think it's because you're friends with comics that you're elevated to a point. It's like friendship plants, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're funny because you appeared on my podcast. That's about it.
No, I really do think Myra Biglia has a good sense of humor. Like when I listen to him, he has a way of phrasing things. And he said he was inspired actually by Stephen Wright. That's kind of the one that inspired him to write jokes. And he performed with like John Mulaney, Nick Kroll. But I feel like his style of humor, that kind of sleepy humor, I call it.
It is.
It works for me.
Okay.
Just the way he delivers stuff.
Unassuming.
Yes. And so the Sleepwalk with Me, I've heard a couple other bits from him too. That one on Letterman was actually funny. And that's where I got the hippo one. But yeah, Mike Birbiglia, he's actually pretty entertaining, contrary to what Ken says.
Sorry.
Because humor is subjective.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's had a couple that I'm like, but I couldn't watch a full special.
Yeah, you wouldn't recognize him in
He does have a
public.
podcast, by the way.
Of course he does.
Mike Birbiglia is working it out.
Yeah,
So-
every living comic on this list has a podcast.
less listens than we do.
Some of the dead ones too.
Yeah, that's weird. So better on stage than in film, Chris Rock.
Really?
Okay. So Chris Rock, he got to start doing stand up in 1984 when he was 19 years old. Then he got a few minor roles in Beverly Hills Cop 2, which I'm okay with. But it's very minor role. CB4, New Jack City, and then he went on to do Head of State, Madagascar.
Come on.
Madagascar is one of his few
He's fine in Madagascar.
fine ones.
Yeah, because it's voice role, and he is the voice, right?
Yeah.
But then Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2 and Spiral from the Book of Saw. This is Chris Rock.
It's such an odd
Did you
ending there.
produce that too?
Chris Rock is like one of the most prominently known stand-up comics, right? Because it's very blue comedy. In fact, allow me to read some of his jokes
But
right
you can't do
now.
that. You can't.
Oh, there's 2 words I can't say.
Blue comedy, by the way, because that's going to come up later too. But blue essentially means kind of vulgar comedy.
Yeah.
It's like you go blue, meaning you're going to be saying dirty jokes. That's kind of what it means.
Anytime he has a special, and he has several specials. In fact, he's won 3 Grammys for Best Comedy Album. It's huge.
You know what my favorite line of Chris Rock is? 5 gallons of mayonnaise.
Just
remember that? He was talking. It was a commercial he did of like what you get at like a big box store. I don't even remember what the commercial was for, but for some reason, every time I get to see a big jar of mayonnaise at Costco, his Chris Rock's voice goes through my head.
Yeah.
Maybe it's completely different. Maybe I made that up.
So Comedy Central had a list of 100 greatest stand-ups of all time, and they gave Chris Rock number 5 because he is that guy. It's not always
1-800-COLLECT. That was the commercial.
I couldn't watch like a full hour-long special of Chris Rock, but anytime on Comedy Central that I got 10 minutes here and there, I was like, I like this guy edited.
Yeah, which is weird. It's becoming such a big star because his movies aren't that great.
Yeah, they're not good.
And his stand-up's fine.
Because he is the voice, right? He is that personality, and that's about as far as it goes.
His comedy sometimes slaps, though.
Wow. All right, what's next?
Our next category is I don't get it.
What don't you
The
get?
comedy, the style, the delivery, what?
Yeah.
What do you not get?
There's some comedians that maybe just don't connect because, hey,
Clearly they're famous.
comedy is subjective.
What?
Some people find something funny, other people don't.
That's the thing you already said.
But I don't get Andy Kaufman. And I know that's a controversial take. So he was active in comedy from 1971 to 1984. And this is the sample joke. I just want to read something he said. He says, I am not a comic. I have never told a joke. The comedian's promise is that he will go out there and make you laugh with him. My only promise is that I will try to entertain you as best I can. They say, oh, wow, Andy Kaufman, he's a really funny guy. But I'm not trying to be funny. I just want to play with their heads.
And he's good at that.
And he is known as like an anti-comedian.
Yeah.
He actually started performing at age 9 at parties and birthday parties with his friends. But then he started doing this foreign man character who spoke in a really this is kind of his high-pitched voice.
You're kind of perfect for a sitcom, right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, for Taxi
For Taxi,
specifically.
because then he ended up turning into that character into a character in Taxi, which he hated being in because it was a sitcom. He felt he was selling out because to him, he was all about the performance. And he was on Saturday Night Live for a short amount of time. And he would come as an alternate character. But the reason I don't get him, because he has some really funny bits. I really do like the Mighty Mouse bit. Yeah. I really like the Elvis impersonation. He'd do this thing where he'd go up and say, like, he'd be the foreign man. He'd be like, I'm going to do an impression of Jenny Carson. Hello, I'm Jenny Carson. And then he'd do all these impersonations, intentionally bad. And he's like, no, I'm going to do Elvis Presley. And he'd turn around and he'd come down and do a spot on Elvis impersonation. And then he'd get the end and be like, thank you very much. Like that stuff made me laugh. But then you didn't know when the comedy was going to end, and he intentionally tried to make people uncomfortable. There was a whole thing with the wrestler Jerry
the
Lawler.
King of Lawler.
Yeah.
So to equate this, right? By the way, go look up any of his David Letterman appearances. They're
Yes.
interesting to watch, maybe not hilarious.
Because he likes making people feel uncomfortable.
Remember when Joaquin Phoenix did this whole thing about 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And he's playing a different version of himself. That's what Andy Kaufman did professionally.
Yeah. But that's the thing is people didn't know when he was acting and when he wasn't. And he intentionally tried to make people uncomfortable. So like certain bits I like, but other stuff I'm like, okay, let the act drop, man. Let it drop.
And it was so intense and so deep that when Jim Carrey went to play him in the movie,
Yes.
it actually kind of ruined him.
I think it did.
Yeah.
It he had a psychosis thing from trying to get into the mind of Andy Kaufman.
But I also know people love Andy Kaufman. A lot of people refer to him as like, one of these great comedians. And I'm like, I don't get it. I get the bits.
When I was 17 and I considered myself to be a hipster, I loved him.
Sure.
Because I was like, this is different, guys.
Oh, it's totally different.
Yeah.
And also I feel like his style of comedy, I mean, it's not the same, but just go with me here. Like Pee Wee Herman. Mm-hmm. Paul Rubens was not Paul Rubens was not Pee Wee Herman. Mm-hmm. He created a character and then became that character. He never let it drop. That was his stage persona. And Andy Kaufman, the same thing, but you never knew what that character was. You never knew the real Andy. Well, even when he died, because he tragically died in 1984. Cancer, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. But he died and people thought, oh, is this another bit? And they literally had to publish his death certificate and be like, no, this isn't a bit. But then he had this character, Tony Clifton, that he would appear as, this rude lounge singer. And Tony Clifton appeared a couple times after his death. And people were like, well, that's obviously him. He's going to come anytime now. Anyway, that's me.
I don't get Bert Kreischer.
Oh, the machine?
Yeah, the machine.
Yeah.
I hate Bert Kreischer. I don't think he has a funny bone in his body.
I get that you don't get it.
Yeah.
He just takes off his shirt.
Thank you.
And
so what he does,
he's obnoxious.
He's this big guy. He's like the big frat guy. In fact, the movie Van Wilder, starring Ryan Reynolds back in the day, based on Bert Kreischer, and he loves that fact. Bert Kreischer loves nothing more than himself. He's basically a real life, well, he's a real life alcoholic that when he realizes his jokes aren't working, because he has a few specials and people like him, he takes off his shirt and just yells. That's Bert Kreischer's comedy.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that he'll tell these crazy stories like, oh, the Russian mafia came after me and I got to hang out with them. And 91% of these stories aren't true.
Well, and comedians do this thing where they'll make up a story for the comedy, but it seems like he's almost pushing it to the point where he thinks it's real.
He thinks it's real.
Which is weird.
I can't handle this guy. He sells out arenas somehow. I just don't get it. Zach, what about you?
Speaking of just don't get it, which is the category, Matt Rife. Matt Rife.
I'm going to tell you why I think he was famous.
Why?
We just watched Tiger King, right?
Yeah.
Our brains were mush because we were staying inside.
Yeah.
TikTok was fairly new. People were dancing online for our entertainment. And then all of a sudden you see a 3-minute crowd work video by this guy who's got a handsome jawline. And you go, you know what? He's pretty good at that.
It's gotten a lot worse.
And he blew up.
So Matt Rife, if you don't know, he's a younger guy who's born in 1995. He's active right now. And he's known for crowd work, sort of fast wit, banter, but also flirting with audience
That's all he
members.
does. That's all he does.
Is that what he does?
A lot.
Yeah.
He'll ask a couple how they met and spin their answer in a sarcastic riff about dating apps or something. But he
or have your mom call me sort of thing.
Yeah,
that sort
he
of
did a lot about dating and all. I don't understand. Apparently, he's very popular with Gen Z women.
He's lost it though.
He has because here's the thing, and I feel like people needed it pointed out to them. They're like, oh, he's so good at crowd work. And it's like. He's not to get too far into it, but he's extremely misogynistic.
Yeah.
And he's really rude to the women that he's
I don't know much of his stuff. I'm trying to look up jokes.
We'll send you some videos. It's now to the point.
Is he blue?
Yes.
Yeah, cerulean.
It's Cerulean. I like
Cerulean blue.
Cerulean stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It's to the point where other stand-up comics, and they usually don't defame each other. They'll do impressions of him, to really make fun of him, and they're spot on about how basic his material is.
Well, a special came out a couple years back, and it was I get why you're popular. Your TikTok videos of crowd work are one thing.
Yeah.
It's you see it, but then okay, now string together a special, and there's nothing. I was referencing this earlier. It's like you are proving that you have no life experience and you're a bad writer. You just happen to be handsome, and you've got some good clips that go out there, and I don't get it. Yeah, honestly, and I just don't get it, and I do think that he has certainly fallen off, and I feel bad, but.
You're also kind of happy about it.
Very happy about that. So I don't get you, Matt Rife. All right, our next category is I feel like we could be friends.
Because, these certain personas, you see them on stage and you're like, yeah, we could totally hang out.
Sweeping statement. No, we couldn't. These are, I guarantee, none of these people are pleasant to be around.
I promise you I got one.
I think I got one too.
You ready for mine?
Go for it.
In fact, Zach, when you almost left the show after episode 500,
yeah,
I had a name in my mind of someone that could replace you seamlessly, and that person is Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes and I could be best friends. He could be we would probably say he was a founding member of Baconsale.
Pete Holmes from the worst Christmas pageant ever movie?
You sure?
That was the weirdest casting.
So Pete Holmes, born in 1979. He has 5 comedy specials out. He also had which by the way, underrated, the Pete Holmes show that followed Conan on TBS.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Only 2 seasons, but hilarious. And if you don't think you know him, he's the one that does the Batman videos, or he does the Professor Xavier videos, the interview videos on YouTube. You can find all of them. And this guy, he's just kind of a realist a little bit. It's observational, but it's kind of making fun of philosophy in a lot of ways.
He's got some deep thoughts in his comedy.
And I love him because his influences are Weird Al.
Yep.
Brian Regan.
Why are you saying like it's a hiss and a byword?
Well, it is. Sinbad, Conan, Seinfeld, Chris Farley, and Ray Romano. And I just think anytime I've seen him in interviews, and he's good in interviews and stand-up, he listens. And then if you're having like a bad day, he'll be like, hey, I'm going to tell you why that's funny. And it just makes you feel better.
He's funny.
So Pete Holmes, don't you think?
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's an interesting one. Also don't want to get terribly into it, but he is one of the few comics that talks about his faith, and like how that aligns with his life and being a comic, and I found that interesting and introspective. But he's good. Also, I could say that about a lot of people, and we might have a category, but he's very good on late night shows.
Yeah,
he's very funny with those guests.
That's right. I was going to add that to the list.
Yes, that definitely has to happen.
All right, Zach, who do you feel like you could be friends with? I could
be friends with. Well, I'll tell you what, not who I should have picked for my last category, now that I've thought about it more, which is Andrew Dice Clay, another person I don't get at all.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
But no, there's a lot of comics that I'm like, I could probably vibe with them. I've mentioned on the show before, I think, that I'm a person that stand-up comics or budding stand-up comics like, because I like to laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people like to have people who like to laugh around.
Yeah.
Because it makes them feel better.
True.
And so I've become friends with a few. But this is a guy that based on his comedy and what he talks about, that I go, I align with you. And recently watched his special and died laughing. That is Nate Bargatze.
Okay.
Yep. He is...
Hey, Zach.
What?
Finger boop.
Finger boop. Boop.
I mean,
that's who I chose.
We would be friends.
He's my honorable mention.
Everybody would be friends with Nate Bargatze, and that's his shtick, which is why I think it's all
Can I do the sample joke?
It's fake?
Yes. Do the sample joke, and I'll give some.
If I went back in time, knowing everything I know now, I don't think I'd make a difference. I don't think you would ever hear about it. If I went back to the 20s and I saw some guy on like an old phone, I would be like, hey, eventually they'll have phones you can just carry in your pocket. And he'd be like, yeah, how do they do it? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it. It's like a satellite or something. And he'd be like, what's a satellite? And I'd be like, well, I shouldn't have even brought that up.
Yeah, Nate Bargatze, he's been active since 2002. He is a clean comedian. I think that's become kind of his deal. He is, once again, very self-deprecating. I think his most recent tour was called Big Dumb Eyes. He makes fun of himself quite a bit, but he's known again for the deadpan and a very monotone, kind of slurred, mumbly, because he's from Tennessee.
He's from Tennessee. Actually, when he first started out, he actually was an alcoholic and heavily drinking. And then I think it was around 2017 or something like that, he finally got okay, I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. His dad, by the way, was a clown. He grew up with a clown. And he said, I got a fear of clowns, because have you ever had a clown yell at you? It's a scary thing. But
when he accepted the Silver Fox look, it really worked for him.
I saw, been watching clips. His look has changed.
That's the thing is, I think he's gotten better with age.
100%.
Yeah. He was just kind of this, if you'll pardon me saying, a doughy little college boy at the beginning. Yeah. And now he's like this Silver Fox guy. You're like, hey.
Right. He's got funny bits.
Hang out.
He's got really funny bits about parenting. He's got funny bits about marriage. You may have seen his thing about new math. You know, he has that kind of made the rounds, but he's got a Southern charm to him as well that makes him feel approachable. Again, I think that's his shtick. You know, when he came to Utah, I think he had at least 2 shows back to back.
Yeah.
He does very well here. And again, I watched his Netflix special, and my wife just kind of randomly threw it on. I'm like, oh yeah, he was really good at hosting SNL.
Oh,
yeah.
The George Washington sketches.
Oh, it's so good.
So
and that's totally his routine.
Yeah.
Funny.
By the way, I was just looking this up and I found it. He's the highest grossing stand-up comic in 2024 with 1 million tickets sold across his shows.
I think that he
And good on
is
him.
like the new biggest thing. I think he is probably the new number one.
And you want to know
Second
why
biggest.
I think? You want to know why I think I could
we'll
hang
talk
out with
about
him?
the other one later.
You want to know why I think I could hang out with him? Like legitimately? Because he reminds me of my little brother.
Yeah.
He reminds me of our brother Mikey. Like the way he kind of presents himself and talks.
Yeah.
And even the way he looks a little bit, I'm like, that's Mike. And so I feel like I could hang out with him. What's up, Mike? Hope you appreciate that comparison.
Yeah. So there we go. I think that we should invite Nate Bargatze to be on Baconsale.
Deal.
There we go.
All right.
Should we just make Baconsale the Pete Holmes and Nate Bargatze show?
That would be great.
I would step away
me
from
too.
Baconsale if they would come on here.
I would still be on the show. So it's fine. Next up, we've been way too positive. Let's do Most Annoying Shtick.
Shtick.
Is that-
Meaning it's shtick is kind of a gimmick that comics use. It's like their deal. It's their hook.
Okay. I want to make people laugh. I want to make a big crowd of people laugh. What should I do? What should I do? Oh, I know. I'm going to just use a funny voice and talk like this. Everyone will love it. I hate Brian Regan so much. I hate it so
How
much.
dare you?
No.
Finger boop.
How dare you?
Couldn't have hated another comic
He's
more.
hilarious.
He is not.
Take care.
Hey, take luck is hilarious.
Take luck.
That is a hilarious bit.
No, it is
Now,
not.
can he carry the voice too far? Yes, I will admit that. Sometimes when he goes off for a while in the weird voice, I'm like, all right, yeah, come on, pull back.
He's like Dane Cook's uncle.
No, he's hilarious.
He's like, I heard my nephew tell a funny joke. I'm going to retell it to everyone I
No
see.
comic makes me want to watch Dane Cook instead, except for Brian Regan.
You know,
Guys, you know he's going to come up later.
like someone hit him on the back when he was pulling one of those weird faces, and it's just become his face at this point. Yeah, it's not good.
I have a number of his CDs, and I have a number of his DVDs, and I think he's hilarious.
When did you start watching him?
2002.
Yeah, like their college years.
So that, not to be like derogatory, but that makes sense, right? Because if you watch a certain thing at a certain point in your life, you're going to feel differently. In 2002, when I was 12 years old, there was nothing funnier on planet Earth than the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. Don't get me near any of that guy.
get there,
I
Zack.
understand. Don't get me near any of that right now. Right? That's not my taste now.
Right.
So maybe when you're in college, you're like, get it? He's funny, and I haven't seen it before. I didn't get into the Brian Regan until after he had become famous. And I had actually heard the quotes, and I'm like, what is this? And I had this obnoxious guy who was from Utah County and went to BYU.
Makes sense.
And he
What the heck?
quoted him all.
Brian Regan is like born and bred in Utah
Exactly.
County. don't you
Because he's a
think?
clean comic who's actually funny.
He quoted him all the time, and I'm like, oh, it's that stuff that Patrick says that I don't like. And it all comes from this
Blasting
guy.
zone. Shouldn't I read Road Closed?
It's a guy that can't let the shtick go. It's like the character has become him.
I know why Kent hates him because he's big. Because he was a big popular comic and everyone quoted him.
20 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I said was.
Big head.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's why Kent hates him because he was popular.
guess what? He's
right
not
around the time
funny.
Kent was there and everyone was quoting him and Kent's like, I wish they were laughing at my jokes.
so I'm doing Andy Kaufman impressions.
Yes.
Yeah, every time I see it, I'm like, I'd rather Get Her Done or something. I just give me
Yeah,
any
we'll
other
get
comic,
there.
any other comic than Brian Regan.
I'm going to read my sample joke here in the voice of the character here, of the comic here. One year, my dad bought my mom a mood ring. Them things worked pretty good. When she was in a good mood, it was blue. And when she was in a bad mood, it made a red mark upside my dad's head. Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
It's a shtick. It's a character. His real name is not Larry the Cable
Yeah,
Guy.
he's
It's
from-
Daniel Whitney.
He's from Florida.
Does he have a Southern accent? No, he does not. He much like Pee Wee Herman, much like Andy Kaufman, he plays this character. And you know what? Praise to him. That sounds weird.
Yeah, what?
Good for him. He got a shtick that works and people like it. But I cannot stand it. I really can't. Like, it's that stereotypical redneck humor where it's like, okay, that's an easy joke that we've heard a dozen times, but you throw a little kind of, blue comedy in there and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's funny again? No, we've heard it before. I might put the whole blue collar comedy tour on this, except for I do like Bill Engvall. I think he's funny, and I think Jeff Foxworthy has some good stuff. But
his albums were pretty good.
He's got some good stuff, but it's just been done to death. Where it's like, I hate Ron White. Hate him. Mm-hmm. But I chose Larry the Cable Guy because it is a shtick, because that is what he does. If you don't know who he is, by the way, from my amazing impersonation, he's the voice of Mater. But he also has movies such as Larry the Cable Guy, Health Inspector, Delta Farce, Witless Protection, and I'm just the get her done thing. He'll tell an awful joke, and it will bomb, or it will be dirty, and then he'll be like, I don't care who you are. That right there's that funny right there. And I'm like, no, it wasn't Larry the Cable Guy. I'm tired of this shtick.
Listen, I don't like Larry the Cable Guy, the comedian, but don't you dare say anything against Mater. I love Mater.
Cars 2. Finger boop.
No, hold on.
Mater's the reason why Cars 2 fails.
And you know why Cars 3 fails? Because Mater's not in it enough.
Oh,
they found the balance in the first one, and then they swung it both ways in the second and third.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Kent?
Both horrible comedians, you guys. Horrible.
One of them.
But there are two.
I'm not going to defend his comedy.
There are two worse. One is Andrew Dice Clay with his shtick.
Oh,
and the other one starts defaming women and just talking about his ex-wives and how horrible they are, and then he wakes up the whole neighborhood with his, I'm not going to do it. I can't yell and burst everyone's ears, but Sam Kinison.
Oh, Sam Kinnison's the worst.
With that yell.
If you don't know who he is, he's got like a beret and long hair. I don't know how to explain it.
He looks like a toad.
Like we say screams, he literally just goes, just starts screaming because he's angry.
I was watching a couple of his sets today,
it's bad.
And he would scream, and the audience was like nervous laughing. Like they were laughing a lot, but you could tell they're like, oh, he's just loud. Like that's the joke, and I feel scared. Like he's gonna stab us if we don't laugh. I'm
glad you chose that kid because I was.
Don't you hate him?
Put him? Yeah.
So he was born in 1953, died in 1992. His stand-ups were characterized by insane, sudden tirades and his distinctive scream, and that was like how he'd. That would be like the punchline.
His punchline would be, I'm just going to yell really loud.
I just looked up some of his jokes like literally 2 seconds ago. Mm-hmm. And once again, I can't read a single one of them. The language is insane, which is funny because he used to be a Pentecostal preacher. And even his sermons were delivered the same way that his stand-up routines were.
Yeah.
What? I hate him.
I think that's an excellent
Most
choice.
Annoying, for sure.
Great choice.
Yeah. I didn't know people were going to know who he was, so I didn't bring it up, but thank you. Thank you, Kent.
Our next category is works the crowd well.
Your favorite?
Like the anti Matt Rife.
Well, I'm just going to take...
But he does sometimes.
I generally don't like this, though.
But is there anyone that does it well?
I don't know. You guys start.
Well, I'm going to not make you guys happy again because I'm choosing another pretty mainstream comic. I'm choosing Jim Gaffigan. And I'm choosing Jim Gaffigan because...
Like 20 years ago, Jim Gaffigan?
Because he brings the audience into his act with his audience voice.
Why is he talking so much?
Why is he so pale? He looks like a Mormon.
Same jokes. Yeah.
But Jim Gaffigan...
This is the guy that everyone's like, he's funny because he said diarrhea.
Well, he says Hot Pockets. That's his shtick. Yeah. And actually, that bit is a very good bit. And he does it very well. Every time I hear it, I'm like, this is a well-crafted comedy.
That breakout special, whatever that was.
Yeah. King Baby?
Yes, King Baby. I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Here's funny. The sample joke, by the way. He says, when you don't drink, people always need to know why. They're like, you don't drink? Why? This never happens with anyone else or anything else. You don't use mayonnaise? Why? Are you addicted to mayonnaise? Is it okay if I use mayonnaise? And for some reason, I find that highly humorous. I bought his book. 2 of his books, actually. His shtick is all about being, fatherhood and laziness and food. That's kind of what he does. But he is one of those comics that's decided right at the beginning he's going to do what he calls the audience voice, or what I don't know if he calls it, but people call it the audience voice. Well, he'll give the audience reactions with that high-pitched kind of breathy voice, and then kind of win the audience over in that regard. Like every time I watch it, they're laughing, and he hasn't even started telling jokes yet. He's just making jokes about what the people are thinking about him.
Yeah.
And I think that's hilarious. He also, if you haven't seen him, Pale Force on Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
It's a highly, highly entertaining thing.
It's funny for where we were growing up in college, because 20 years ago, like that's, I think, when Comedy Central was like a thing for us.
Yeah.
And those comedians that came out at the time, like, still have an impact, even if now they're not super great. right.
Well, but that's because they still have the impact from back then, and I can still laugh at the jokes.
Yeah.
I have a couple of the CDs that I still listen to and still laugh at. By the way, in 2015, he performed at the Festival of Families, which is a Catholic event held in Philadelphia, and he performed by Pope Francis.
Oh, really?
So I believe he actually. I know Pope was at the event. I don't know if he saw the whole comedy thing, but I believe Jim Gaffigan performed for the Pope.
Yeah, but the Pope was also
pockets.
the Pope is also a White Sox fan, so he's used to garbage.
I do feel like, by the way, like whenever like I do the comedy shows and I can perform with strangers, no problem. But if someone I know is in the audience, I get really self-conscious very quickly.
Oh, I hate that.
And I can only imagine if the Pope was sitting there, if I'm doing my comedy bit.
Wasn't the
I'm like,
Pope at the time?
At the Pope? No, the Pope was. The real Pope was.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, no, not the real Pope. Pope Francis.
Pope's on first.
Yeah. Third base.
Kent?
I'm going to go for someone that works the crowd similar to a Matt Rife, but is actually hilarious because he's so self-effacing, and it's Jeff Arcuri. You have seen him on TikTok and or Reels. He's kind of like this short guy.
I definitely have not seen
He
him.
kind of looks like he's going to sell you a used
Curie?
Arcuri. It's ARCURI.
This guy.
He is legit hilarious because, and I don't know if he has like an act, because every video I've seen him in, he just talks to people in the crowd.
I don't know this guy.
But he makes fun of himself the entire time. Like he'll like accidentally like, I don't know, do a bad accent where he's like, oh, that's really offensive. And people just, you can't help but like laugh along with him. He just puts his foot in his mouth. And granted, he's making fun of himself to a room full of drunk people at all times. And that's also so funny. Also, he's good because every time he talks to an audience member, he'll repeat everything they say. And I think that's stalling to create the joke.
Yep.
But it works amazingly. So I would totally recommend watching this guy. It's like the talented Matt Rife.
Maybe I have seen him on Reels.
Matt Rife, but talented.
Less handsome, more talented.
I'll take
Baconsale.
Yeah. Pick the latter. All right. My choice here. I had to cheat
For working with the crowd.
for working with the crowd. I had to cheat a little bit because I don't like this. This isn't
You don't
my
like crowd
favorite
work?
thing. Jimmy Carr is the
Oh.
worst. Absolutely the worst.
Sometimes I laugh at Jimmy Carr.
Sometimes. Yeah.
It's because he has such a nice British accent.
But he swears all the time.
He does.
For sure. No. So I was like, who am I going to pick for this category? And it's a little bit of a cheat because I don't think this person is well, I know this person.
Wait, so you did
isn't
pick Jimmy Carr?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I hate Jimmy Carr. Well, hate's a big word.
Wow.
Don't like.
You said you hate Brian Regan 2 seconds ago.
Because I do. Okay, so this person is not
I hate
a
Mater.
stand-up comedian per se,
Later.
I hate the Pope.
but rather
I say that to wake you guys up. You can't say that.
I chose a magician. Actually,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I chose a magician from Saskatchewan, but currently resides in Calgary. Carissa Hendricks.
Oh,
is
that's not
my
what I was
choice.
thinking of.
No, Carissa Hendricks, who that is her name, but actually she goes by Lucy Darling. This is a character that has grown to prominence on social media. You may have seen her. She dresses, kind of old school.
Okay, yeah.
And I guess the character is based on Dorothy Parker. But this is a magician who has a whole, very fun attitude about it. Is a little bit self-deprecating, but then these clips started coming up of crowd work. And they would do question and answer sessions, and the funniest thing would come of it. And she's just very sharp, very quick with the wit. But she'd ask things like, "Oh, what's your name?" And she'll make fun of your name. You're like, "Oh, your name's George." I bet it is. And for some reason,
seen
that's
her.
funny. And then she'll say, "What do you do?" And then they'll say what they do, and she'll make that funny.
It's like the most basic crowd work, but she does it well.
But she does it very well. And it's literally just, who are you? What do you do? What are you doing here tonight? Tell me about your relationship.
Yeah.
All the very most basic stuff or just questions from a hat. And they're quite funny. And she just has a way of rolling with it. And I think that good crowd work kind of starts with, you said something, audience member, but that thing you said was kind of dumb. And we're going to double down on it.
Yep.
Now, I could have picked what might be my real pick in this, but he's not a stand-up comic either. Once upon a time, I went to a show, and it was an improv show, and they were asking
Improv comedians.
they were asking for things that didn't exist in Shakespeare's time. And the hot girl I was with was like, elephant. And Joel Hilton then went and doubled down talking about when John Z. DeLorean or built
John Elephant invented the elephant
whatever.
in
Yeah. It was
1852.
so funny. That was great. But similarly, when you have that crowd work where the audience member says something and then you just see them sink into their chair and laugh because what they said was ridiculous.
Yep.
Everybody, like, the room fills with energy for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like we're not laughing at you, but we're laughing at you.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
And a lot of that happens with these. So if you haven't already seen her videos, I encourage you check out Lucy Darling, Carissa Hendricks on TikTok.
When you said magic comedian, I was really hoping you're going to bring up the amazing Jonathan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
as well.
for sure.
But yeah,
but
another time.
yes, I'm on TikTok, so I have to pick somebody who's popular on TikTok. All right, now we are going to have I would pay big to see them live.
Big money, no whammies.
Who are you going to pay to see?
So I'm going to save a major choice till next time because the comedian I would pay big money to see them live is Bo Burnham.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham is a performer. People may go, I don't really get his jokes. And guess what? I get it.
I wish I could listen to more of his comedy
Joel, I wish you could too.
because he is so funny.
It's the art that he's doing.
But I never know when he's going to throw something out where I'm like, oh.
And half of his songs, because a lot of it is music making, filmmaking, and stand up with a satirical twist on comedy. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Right? But then there's dirty words throughout half of it.
Yeah.
The joke is the dissection of jokes.
Yes.
Everything is
So
planned. Do you guys see that everything is planned when he drops the water bottle and it's on purpose? And
Yeah.
oh, it's hilarious.
And it's like,
Art is a lie.
Art is
Nothing
a
is
lie.
real.
and you're annoyed by him, but he wants you to be annoyed by him, right? He's a skinny comedy prodigy that all these other comedians love, to the point where he had a nervous breakdown because of all the pressure that was put on him.
I'm not laughing at that.
Yeah, go on.
No, I can't say the joke I was just laughing at.
Because
Yeah.
of reasons.
Yeah.
So he has 3 comedy specials out and 1 Netflix comedy experience, I would say. He's won 3 Emmys and a Grammy. And I would just say the shows are production because each one of them, it has a lot of music, a lot of lights. And then by the end, there's usually this epic song that you're
He's
watching
so
it.
talented musically.
Yeah, and in each one of these, I would leave each show going, I got my $300 worth. And that's probably the money I would spend to go see, like to see this kind of comedian. And I wish he did more because he doesn't really do much.
No.
I miss you, Bo.
So for mine, there was an easy choice here because there is one that actually happened to me. The only comedian I have paid big money to go see. The only comedian that I have paid to see money at an arena, the Delta Center, that was sold out. And there were lines around the building to see the guy that I think is on top of the comedy world, despite personal life choices that are questionable. It's John Mulaney, okay?
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney.
He was one I almost picked for, I think we'd hang out. And then I was like, no.
Oh,
we
100%
couldn't.
no. I would never.
Different
Joel.
circles. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, maybe new
New dad. John Mulaney.
dad with 2 children with Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
John Mulaney.
Let's hang.
Yeah, that feels approachable.
Isn't it the White Powder Comedy Tour?
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
Yes,
Family
he's-
friendly.
He's sober now, apparently.
Sure.
So John Mulaney, he is the guy from, I don't know, all the clips and 17 different Netflix specials. And he has a absurdist late night show that appears on Netflix now.
Yeah.
He is the millennial comedian.
He is hilarious. And there's something about his observations that is so on the nose, but also out there. His What's New Pussycat story.
Yeah.
With the jukebox.
It's great.
Is one of my favorite comedy bits ever. I find it so hilarious. And it's just a story. It's just him telling a story.
There's an episode of The Twilight Zone where a ventriloquist doll comes to life, and I think that became John Mulaney.
Became John Mulaney, for sure. I mean, if
If you don't know who John Mulaney is, he's the voice of Spider-Pig in Spider-Man to the
that's
Spider-Verse.
why you would know him and nothing else. Yeah. Or he was
He's
on,
best friends with Bill Hader.
Yes.
Oh, no. He was on the semi-autobiographical Fox sitcom Mulaney.
Oh,
Yeah, obviously.
right.
You remember him.
I forgot that.
It was awful.
It's not good.
Big fan of his. Could not stand it. No, John Mulaney, I mean, he broke out with 2012's New in Town. Came out on Netflix.
So good.
Comeback Kid after that, 3 years later, was great. Kid Gorgeous was great. Baby J is great. Like his specials on Netflix are actually, they're really well polished. They are funny, and it's this storytelling. He's, I think, a very polished storyteller.
Yes.
And the way he sets up the reality with the absurd
Yes.
is fantastic. But he has a rhythm that is John Mulaney.
Yeah.
You know, you can do a John Mulaney impression much like Christopher Walken because of pace.
Yes.
Because of the way he talks. You know, like it's honestly, if you don't know old sportscasters, Howard Cosell.
Yeah.
Please go with.
Or the Asian guys from Better Off Dead.
Yeah.
That's just John Mulaney, you know. And so I have always found him very funny. And even when, I don't know, he reached a peak of popularity, and I think that I felt like maybe it was a sellout thing. I'm like, I can't like him anymore. And then he put out another special, and I'm like, dang it.
Every time he comes on to SNL and does like the musical,
Always does a musical
thing where it's like a bunch of different musicals all put together in a random, like, you know.
Yeah, it's always about New York.
Yeah, it's always about New York. I look forward to it. And then he was the one that was writing for Bill Hader when he was doing the Stefan character.
How much did you pay to see him live?
I don't recall. But because
around 100?
Because I wanted to forget. I'm sure
Yeah.
over 100. Easily. And it was for mediocre seats.
Yeah.
But I had to be there. And I got to watch what I believe became the Baby J special. I didn't watch that. So I think I've technically already seen that one live. But what was fascinating is I also saw him at Wise Guys in downtown, which is this, you know, a
smaller venue.
Kind of the main comedy club in Utah. But I saw him there on the smaller stage and kind of more stripped down.
Cool.
And I would say about half of the jokes I was watching. I was watching Kid Gorgeous, and I'm like, oh yeah, he was workshopping that in ours. But then by the time I saw him in that Baby J tour, I had to give up my cell phone and lock it away. Like we had to have our cell phones locked in bags.
Yep, because they don't want you to
they don't
filming
want
it.
anything to go out because this was going to be the next special.
So for I would pay big money to see them live. I'm going to read the sample joke, not with a voice. I just want to see if you guys can guess who it is. Okay. I'll never understand why they cook on TV. I can't smell it, can't eat it, can't taste it. The end of the show, they hold it up to the camera. Well, here it is. You can't have any. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Seinfeld?
Yep.
I was gonna say,
Jerry Seinfeld.
It's very observational.
So Jerry Seinfeld,
It's relatable.
he is. I'm picking a very mainstream choice here, but I think what it is, if I would pay my money to see him live. I don't know. Big money still seems hard for me to say.
Yeah,
but I'd pay money
You
to see
wouldn't
him
pay big
live.
money to see
because
him.
I'm like, it's Jerry Seinfeld.
We drove to Idaho to see Weird Al
to save a couple bucks,
save a little bit of money.
But with Jerry Seinfeld, I think he is one of those comedians that oddly made it big on TV and then stayed big after he left TV. Like when he did Seinfeld, the TV show Seinfeld, they actually offered him $100 million, $5 million an episode for 10th season, and he declined. He said, no, I'm done.
He's doing all right.
And went back. He's doing just fine.
This is a comedian that's had an impact in your life as well,
Yes.
right? So to see him live would be kind of like...
Because I enjoy the TV show,
Yeah.
but I've also seen his stand-up specials, and I think they're great. I actually really do enjoy him. His movies, no. Like B-Movie and Unfrosted, not great.
Well, you don't like B movie.
I don't. But I put up there with the Cars too. But when I watched Seinfeld,
They're not even close, Joel.
shots fired. But he does a thing now, comedians in cars getting coffee, where it's just him taking out other comedians, getting coffee or getting something to eat. And I enjoy seeing them just have this rapport with each other.
I don't care for his stand-up style. I like the show a lot.
You like the Cars.
I like Seinfeld.
Oh.
But I love comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah.
I think that shows, like, as an interview show, it's
a great
format.
format.
just
That
friends
and
hanging
Hot
out.
Ones are my favorite interview shows. Like,
Yeah. And it's fun too, because you see from this that generally people like Jerry Seinfeld. Like people like him in real life, which is, comedians a lot of times it's like, oh, they're jerks in real life.
Yeah.
But he seems when he can really get on. He almost made I could hang out with him, but I'm also like, I don't think he'd like me.
Yeah.
But he said, I wanted to point this
I
out.
could hang out with him because we talk cars.
Speaking of the Mount Rushmores earlier that you said, Seinfeld has stated, on the Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedy, there are 4 faces, in my opinion. Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Bill Cosby, and Don Rickles. And like
Don Rickles.
people did mention like Bill Cosby, and he's like, look, like
Yes.
everything horrible
yes.
aside, the guy could put together great stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Seinfeld is one I would love to see in real life. By the way, did you know he was on Benson? Do you guys remember the TV show Benson?
Yes, strangely.
He had like a small recurring role in there as like Frankie, the mail delivery boy, who had comedy routines that no one wanted to hear.
I think we're assuming height of powers, right? Of when we see them.
I'd do it now.
All right. Our next category is makes me laugh every time. Just really reliable laugh.
Yeah,
I'm going to start.
Like
this
if you put
one.
it on, you know you're gonna laugh.
I rarely mourn a passing of an individual.
I know who you're going for.
Of course you do. I rarely mourn a passing of an individual, but I have been bummed for years now at the loss of Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald is one that actually, like, while he was alive, I was like, oh yeah, he's really funny. And I absolutely loved him on Conan.
Yeah.
Like the best on Conan. And I saw some of his sets and, old Weekend Update stuff. And
Yeah, because a lot of people know him from SNL, but it's like he has a really successful stand-up career as well.
I knew about him, and I was like, oh yeah, he's funny. He's ends up in like Billy Madison and stuff like that. He's just a known presence. And then after,
why am I laughing at all these jokes I can't say out loud?
yeah, exactly. After he passed in 2021, I really kind of like went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, he's a genius of storytelling.
I think he's the comics comic.
Yes.
He's someone that everyone respects because you see a lot of these podcast interviews and everything, and he would throw in these like weird jabs or conspiracies.
Oh, yeah.
Deadpan as all get out.
Yeah.
And they're so funny.
And his delivery was so dry and yet and so unsure of himself, and yet it was hilarious every time.
And the long meandering jokes that you could even maybe halfway through, you're like, I know where this is going, and then it goes exactly there, and you think that the punchline's going to be one thing, and maybe it's a rug pull, maybe it's not, and maybe the whole complicated story boils down to just the simplest joke, but either way, he is just so engaging to listen to.
Yeah.
And even with a really kind of annoying voice.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Right.
I don't know. I was kind of, who wants to hear a bunch of guys talking like
The
this?
light was on.
Yes, that one that you're referencing, that whole story. Like, you don't want to spoil it because it's just so funny. Yeah. Look up Norm Macdonald Doctor. I think you will probably get you there.
Moth Doctor.
Moth Doctor. Yeah. And
Moth Doctor.
yeah, the moth joke is like peak, right?
Yeah.
But just again, almost an anti-joke. Like, just funny by existing, funny by talking, and that is just such a gift, and he is wholly unique, and I love him for it. And it, again, I laugh every time.
Good pick.
In every form, pretty much.
Yeah.
I had a hard time with this because there's so many comedians that make me
Tons,
laugh.
right?
So I put one in here that I just felt I just wanted to put him somewhere, and so I put him here, and so I chose Dimitri Martin.
Okay.
So Dimitri Martin,
You know
if you
what?
don't know,
That makes sense, Joel.
97 to present, he's been around, but here's a sample of his joke. Swimming is a confusing sport because sometimes you do it for fun, and other times you do it to not die. And when I'm swimming, sometimes I'm not sure which one it is. But he's a deadpan comic, but he also does music stuff and he does drawing stuff. But he is very much inspired by Stephen Wright. He said that Stephen Wright is one of his big influences, as well as The Far Side, the cartoon.
Yeah.
But he is one where every time he is, I quote him often only because he says things like, people say LOL and they're not really laughing out loud, and that bothers me. So whenever I laugh at something, I just write LQTM, laugh quietly to myself. So me and my brother have written to each other LQTM because it's just, he makes me laugh, and he's so clever. Like, it's smart humor, and I appreciate that. Stuff that makes you think. Sometimes I have to like, he draws something and I have to think about what he's doing. I'm like, I get it now. But Dimitri Martin, if you haven't seen him, he's highly entertaining. Most of these comics I'm going to recommend, for those of you who prefer non-blue stuff, look him up on like Conan or Tonight Show or something like that. They usually keep it fairly family friendly then. He's one that is hilarious, but every now and then he'll throw something and I'm like, oh, there's my ears. But Dimitri Martin, funny guy.
He's so funny.
Yeah, I went through like a 3-year stretch where
he was the guy.
That slaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Premium Blend. That's what it was called.
That's what's called on Comedy Central.
On Comedy Central. It would show like a bunch of bits. Sorry.
I either you completely forget or just go, I'm not going back. I'm not going back on Dimitri Martin. But there was a stretch there of gold.
Well, he belongs 20 years ago, right? Little time capsule.
Yeah. 15.
Yeah, 15.
There we go. What do you think, Kent?
I think this is the king of comedy right now. I think John Mulaney is like so funny. He's so slick, but he's like, he's kind of like upper crust, right? He's buddies with everyone.
Yeah.
But the one that he's a grassroots comedian because he's the opposite of a suit wearer. It's Shane Gillis. Is probably the funniest freaking person.
Shane Gillis is the king of comedy?
He's the king of comedy right now. He is consistently funny, guys.
That sounds like a Kent pick.
No, Shane Gillis, like seriously, he's got this comedy special on Netflix called Beautiful Dogs. And I was like, you know how I don't like watching anything humorous on my own because I'm like,
you laugh to yourself and your cats.
Because I do this, I go,
Your cats don't laugh with you?
I know, weird, right?
Yeah.
One of them does, but
That's creepy.
It's kind of creepy. But Shane Gillis, could you do that again?
The cat laughing.
For the entire hour by myself, I was cackling like my cat. It is so darn funny. And you know what works for him?
He's relatable.
He's relatable.
Yeah.
He just makes fun of himself and how schlubby he is.
You would have known him better if he wasn't fired like right away from SNL.
You actually know him better because he was
well,
fired.
I guess maybe that's true.
Right? Because on SNL, he would have been wasted, right? A little bit like Tim Robinson, a little bit, where he got a lot of controversy, and then he just started going through the podcast circuit and the stand-up circuit, and everyone's like, wait a minute, this guy's kind of a genius.
If you haven't seen anything about him, except for one thing, it's probably his joke about his uncle who has Down syndrome. And how he says that he...
No, Joel.
It's so funny because
it's so funny.
He's like, just look at me. You can tell I got nicked by Down syndrome.
Can't say this on Baconsale.
No, but this is his joke, and he's like, he goes on and tells a hilarious joke that you're like, am I allowed to laugh? And he has a way of telling it that tells you, yes, please laugh. This is funny.
Yes.
I'm not making fun of anybody.
Like
We
at
are
first you
just
go,
having
because
fun.
we're in the 2020s, and you go, oh, comedy, oh.
Yeah.
But like he would have been funny in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and almost right now we're like a little offended. But he just hits that mark where you're like, but actually, it's still hilarious.
I think it's funny you think he's the king of comedy.
I really
Like the
do. I
biggest
think
thing.
he is
Right?
the biggest
Wait,
deal right
who'd
now.
you say, Zach, that was second?
in this moment, I said Nate Bargatze.
I think
Oh, yeah.
right now we've got Mulaney, Gillis, and Bargatze.
Mulaney, I think, is on the way out.
Yeah.
And he will exist in the millennial hearts forever. But like, I don't think he's gaining new followers,
Right.
new fans. But
Like Shane Gillis literally hosted the ESPYs recently.
Yeah.
And he goes,
He was great.
He's like, we'd like to welcome this woman. He says her name, and she is
Yeah.
a 4-time winner of the title for the WNBA. And then everyone's clapping for her, and he goes, that's just my buddy's wife. You guys don't know anything
don't
about the WNBA.
That's funny.
and people were mad at him. And I'm like, way to go, buddy.
he was fantastic.
And he makes fun of everyone. That's what I kind of love about him. So Shane Gillis.
I like it. All right, next up, definitely not Baconsale appropriate, but we're going to go there with the too blue to be funny. Let's just start with Joel.
Oh, I'm starting?
Yeah,
of
you finally
course
have to
you
talk about a blue comedian.
No, I was going to say the blue style of comedy is not my thing. I don't like shock humor. I prefer clever humor because shock humor, they're just trying to say something vulgar to garner a reaction.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, meh. But I just feel like Ken Jeong is too blue to be funny,
Interesting.
which is funny because
I forgot he was a stand-up comedian.
I have a sample joke here.
Uh-oh.
And I cleared it with my wife. I said, can I say this on Baconsale? And she was like, yeah. So that's not how she sounds, by the way. But, this is what it is. He said, this is Ken Jeong talking. He says, I met my wife at work, all right? She's a doctor, okay? She's a Vietnamese doctor. Last name, Ho. I'm not making that bleep up. I married a Ho. And I'm like, that's not funny. Like, that's like,
Yeah, but when you say
that's
it,
junior high locker room, kind of like, haha.
when you're
kind
the
of
guy from The Hangover,
from Hangover and from Community, which is funny because when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, he's in The Hangover, he's in Community, he's in Knocked Up, Role Models, Ride Along 2, Crazy Rich Asians, Scoob, and Tom and Jerry, and I'm like, maybe he's just not funny.
Yeah, he's
like
not.
I was like, too blue to be funny because he's always crude.
Yeah.
Every time he's on screen or doing something, he's crude. Also, he's a doctor. Do you guys know that?
No.
Like a licensed physician. Like he practiced medicine and then became a comedian, and he still like knows stuff about medicine, and his wife's a doctor, so he's still very much in the medical industry. But yeah, I just every time Ken Jeong is doing something, a performance in a movie or a TV show, or especially stand up, I wince because I know I'm not going to be last long watching it. So
Yeah.
too blue to be funny.
okay, Kent.
Amy Schumer.
We can't.
I know.
When we
I'm
start-
I'm so sorry.
We started Baconsale. We made a blood oath to never bring her up. And you just did. I'm
so sorry.
Baconsale's over.
Can I just be done?
The blood oath means nothing.
I'm so sorry. I broke the oath. She was a contestant on the 5th season of Last Comic Standing in 2007. And guess what? She was pretty funny.
Yeah?
Like when she got her start, pretty funny stuff. And then she's like, hey, all my specials are about my anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. I actually think, Zach, I want to approve this through you. Is she an industry plant?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
guess what? she hit it big
She got
immediately.
a bunch of movies.
And she was on 30 Rock, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Girls, bunch of movies, Trainwreck.
Was she on 30 Rock?
Yeah, she was.
Hold on, I'm looking up now.
Yeah, she was suddenly everywhere. And you definitely were like, why are you here?
And in 2016, she was accused of stealing jokes from about 4 different comedians. And she said, we just have parallel thinking.
Yep.
Like, you're not that funny. Joel, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah. It's just not my brand of comedy. Like, I can handle blue humor, but not when it's just about.
She had one line
all that.
on one episode of 30 Rock. I was like, I would have noticed that.
I would have stopped watching the show. All right, Zach, too blue to be funny.
So when I started thinking about this category, I kind of came up with the Mount Rushmore of comedians because they're kind of not my flavor.
Yeah.
I could say George Carlin here,
I mean, it's probably
but
it.
he's funny. I could. He can be very funny. I could say Richard Pryor, but that's more like not my flavor.
Yeah.
Like I could get it. I could say Dave Chappelle. I could say Chris Rock. I could say Eddie Murphy. I could say, but ultimately I feel like it's like, no, I can see what's going on there. It's not my flavor. But you know, one that I don't get. I don't like being yelled at in politics, and that is Louis Black.
Oh, okay.
I don't care for Louis Black. I've tried. I mean, when your favorite thing about someone's work is that they were on fire and Inside Out.
Yep, he's the
Like
anger,
that's
he's anger
appropriate.
and Inside
but,
Out.
But if you don't know, Louis Black is that one comedian with the glasses who just screams at you.
Yeah, featured prominently on The Daily Show. Daily back in the heyday.
Not scream like Sam Kinison, like he's yelling words at you.
He's just
Like he's
yelling.
mad at
Yeah.
you when you're watching his stand-up routine.
Yeah, he makes you feel bad for, I don't know, existing. He hates everything about the world, pretty much. But yeah, definitely one of those Daily Show comics.
Is it an act, or is that just who he is?
I think,
Do we know?
I think it's an act
Okay.
that he's very good at. But he was active even back to the 70s, but I think came to prominence more in the 90s and 2000s with, again, with that connection to Comedy Central. But I remember like seeing a special on HBO and thinking, I keep hearing about this guy. And I got a couple minutes in.
Yeah.
Like I can't do it. I absolutely can't do it. So how he speaks, but what he talks about and how he's just, and it's not like it's inappropriate in some of the same sense that you were talking about, but how he talks about things and his language usage, which I'm not nearly as opposed to as Joel or maybe even Kent, but it's the way he goes about it where I'm like, I'm uncomfortable watching this.
Yeah.
This to me is like, inappropriate.
Yeah.
Whether it's, content it technically is or not, the way he goes about it and a lot of what he speaks about, not for me. So there we go.
You're saying Louis Black is blue?
Louis Black is, for me, yes. Our next category, let's talk overrated. I mean, I think we've done a few, but
Yeah.
who is overrated? Kent?
Bill Burr.
No, come on.
Guys, he's not funny.
No, he's funny.
Oh, he is funny,
He's
Ken.
not funny at all.
No.
He's
Zach
an
Big Still
guys.
Prove Bill Burr is funny.
Guys, here's his whole shtick. He's an observational comedian known for tackling social issues, politics, and human absurdism. This guy, he's just trying to talk, and he yells like Louis Black, and he's like, "I'm gonna find a joke."
But it's
eventually.
like it's with a Brooklyn accent, so it's funny.
No, but he's like
Boston.
He's
That's what I
like
meant.
he's like an old guy trying to be like, and this is why everyone sucks but me. And you're
No,
like,
he bashes on himself too.
no, he does not.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I do.
He's the opposite of self-effacing.
I appreciate Bill Burr much more in an interview with Conan, especially.
Well, so here's the-
Conan and him are
But
great.
he's
actually-
like Rich Eisen in sports.
I actually think he's actually quite clever in conversation.
Yes.
And he's able to make like jump on what someone says if they make a mistake in speaking, and
Yeah.
he'll make fun of that person.
yeah, he'll
right?
make you pay for it for sure.
However, he's Sam Kinison part 2.
No.
And
No.
he's always defensive.
He might be
And
onto
whenever I watch him,
something.
I do this. I go, huh, that's really interesting. Oh, the volume of his voice makes it sound important. That's about as far as
There
Bill
are
Burr
a few
gets with
people
me.
I looked forward having on Conan than Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Every time he came on, I was like,
Like
here
the
we
interview,
go.
not the stand-up, though.
Because he would just say, let's think, he's doing his shtick, he's doing his comedy thing, and the audience would get mad at him. He's like, what? Too soon? Like,
Yeah.
he just the way he does it.
Because he
it
just
works.
sits there. He's like a badger in a hole. He just gets defensive, and that's his whole thing.
Oh no, that's definitely his angry. He's got angry rant style comedy.
Yeah.
but I think he does it way better than Louis Black and
I
Sam
agree.
Kinison.
Overrated.
No, way.
Literally by you guys saying how much you love him, overrated.
No.
No, I don't love him, but my experience with him is much more at Conan's desk than it is in his specials.
Hey, Joel, watch
which are
one of his
okay.
specials.
No.
I dare you.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do feel like he is the one of the guy where like he says things and I'm like, can you say that?
Yeah, you
And
probably
then you
should
laugh at it.
Yeah.
Okay, for mine, it's almost in line with Kent's pick. Better on stage than in film, but I don't like him on stage either. So Chris, you chose Chris Rock for that.
Yeah.
I chose Kroger, Chris Rock.
Chris Tucker?
Oh, no. Much worse. I don't know why this guy's so famous. I don't know why this guy's popular. I don't know why people want to see him on stage or on film. It's Kevin Hart.
Oh.
So it's like you took Chris Rock, which is not my flavor, but I respect.
Sure.
And you made him way worse and louder.
So you guys don't like loud comedies?
I don't like
No.
screaming comedies.
No, I don't.
Generally, no. But I also just don't find Kevin Hart that funny. It kind of, I guess, is a different version of the
He
Brian.
has moments of funny.
He pulls faces.
He's Brian Regan.
They're two different people, Zach.
He doesn't say anything funny.
He's like the opposite of Brian
It's like a
Regan.
Chris Gaines thing. What's happening?
Yes, he doesn't say anything.
Brian Regan's like 8 feet tall. Kevin Hart's 4.
They're the same person. He doesn't say anything that funny. He says it kind of funny in a kind of funny way.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. And it's like you I don't know, is he funny because of an accent? Because of an affectation of a voice? Because he's small? I don't get it. He could have been used for my I don't get it category, but I also think that he's extremely popular.
Yeah.
He
He's an
sells
arena
out-
guy.
He sells out arenas.
Yeah.
He
I don't get
is in-
that.
He's in big roles in movies. Several.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I think he has a place. I do like the pairing of him with The Rock, like in Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. That kind of thing was funny.
and the
In a movie, but not stand up.
right.
I don't like the guy. I don't get it, but he continues to be a big thing. And then I'll see him on like ads, and I'm like, why? Why are you want your?
I think he's on the downfall.
He certainly is, and
Yeah.
I'm happy for it.
Me too.
All right. What do you think, Joel?
Well, they've been mentioned already,
Oh,
but not picked. I'm picking Joan Rivers.
yeah.
Because Joan Rivers, who many consider to be like, one of the great, she literally is the first female talk show or female late night talk show host.
Yeah.
Like that was her thing. That was also her downfall. I'll get to that in a second. But she is very much an old style comedy thing. And I remember even when I'd see her like on the Muppet movie or on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, I'm like, I don't get it. Here's the sample joke. My husband wanted to be cremated. I told him I'd scatter his ashes at Neiman Marcus. That way I'd visit him every day.
Oh. That I was like waiting for more.
Because she's,
Yeah.
But she's, very blunt in her observations, and she kind of, very barbed comedy.
Yeah.
Very sharp towards others and sharp towards herself. Like she has a very self-depreciating thing too that she would do. She rose in prominence because she'd go on the Tonight Show and Johnny Carson, and people liked her. So she kept doing it over and over again, like repeatedly. I think she guest hosted a couple times as well. But then she got her own late night talk show, like I mentioned, which was in direct competition with Johnny Carson, and didn't tell him about it until it had already been announced. And then she called him and he wouldn't answer calls, and they were just, their friendship was done. And then her show went 1 year, and her career kind of went to red carpet commentary after that. That's kind of where she went after that. But Rolling Stone named her the 6th on its list of 50 best stand-up comics of all time. And I was like, no, Joan Rivers? Even watching the Muppets Take Manhattan, there's a scene with Miss Piggy, and I was like, I'm not finding this funny at all. Also in Spaceballs, she's Dot. She's the C-3PO robot type.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really care for that. So, I don't know. Joan Rivers, I feel bad because I feel like she was such a persona. People knew her.
Yeah.
But I just don't think as a stand-up comedian, not my thing.
Well, we did overrated. Might as well do underrated. And this one was
Those do pair nicely
this one
together.
was very difficult for me because I definitely chose someone who's not underrated. But I want to give a shout out here first. I want to call out a comedian that you definitely have not heard of, but who I like very much, and his name is Ryan Irwin.
Oh, yeah.
You know Ryan.
Oh, I know Ryan.
Ryan is a very funny guy. He's an up-and-coming stand-up comic. He has a couple of specials for Dry Bar. He's got a special available
How do you spell his last
Amazon. Erwin.
Okay.
Like Steve.
Oh, he's a local.
He is a local, and I don't know.
He lives in New York now, I
went to
believe.
school with my wife. Yeah. And he's done cruise tours and lots of shows. He headlines Wise Guys, but he went through that journey. He started at open mic nights, and he was just going and doing open mic and building his material. And so he's a friend of mine, and we would be at gatherings, and he would be testing his material on us or talking about stories. And he has a hilarious bit. If you want, I'm sure you could probably look it up. He has a hilarious bit about having deaf parents. He is a child of deaf adults. And he's like, my mom's favorite movie bothers me. It shouldn't, but it does. It's the Sound of Music. And he'll tell jokes and sign. And again, that it's like, am I allowed to laugh? And he's like, yes, you can laugh. Let me invite you in. Very funny. So I'd recommend checking his comedy out. But I can't really pick him, right?
You can.
Oh, it's not your pick.
No, I can't. But I had to. If we're talking stand-up comics, I have to talk about my buddy Ryan. However, and my underrated pick, I think that you guys are going to hate this, but guys, I find Tig Notaro funny.
Oh, she's one
Finger
she's a
boot,
legend.
Zach, that was my pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I find Tig Notaro very funny.
Is she underrated?
But
She's a
that's the thing.
legend.
I don't think that she's.
I think she's underrated because if you say Tig Notaro, people are like, who?
She's not mainstream, but she is enormous in the spheres that like her.
She's a cult classic comedian.
Cult classic.
Where if you've heard her whole bit about, what's her name? Taylor Dane. When she does this whole bit about Taylor Dane, the singer, and she, oh man. So she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yep.
And she found out just before she was supposed to do this comedy special, this set, and she went in there and totally just talked about it on stage in a way that is like very emotional, but also really funny. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to hear. And she has this whole thing with a bar stool as well. She did that. That was on Conan. That really cracked me up. But
yeah, I mean, that's how I found out about Tig was on Conan. That's how I found out about most every comedian that I know about. But I think, again, this is not a person who is that underrated.
No.
Yet I still think she's not a household name.
Well, it's weird. Like when she was so she was digitally inserted into the movie Army of the Dead to replace another actor who got in hot water.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is she doing here? Like, that doesn't make sense at all. Like, we should go to this like big Netflix movie. It doesn't make sense because she is this kind of underground comedian.
Oh, and
She looks tough though.
Yeah. Well, and the joke with her is that she doesn't know anything about the world. She doesn't know anything about pop culture. She had a whole show where she was just trying to guess who people were.
Yeah.
It's like, you're Melissa Joan Hart, but no, she's never going to find that out. She's never going to know who you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you host award shows and you have your own show and, you have several specials, you're probably a big deal. And yet I still think that Tig Notaro.
The fact that you and I both picked Tig Notaro shows me that she is underrated.
Okay.
But
that
also,
makes me feel better.
Fun fact, I was going to pick Stephen Wright for this.
Yeah.
But then
Underrated.
I found out that I used him as my underrated stand-up comic on Baconsale episode 145. This show was underrated.
Which leads into mine because I think on that same show I said Gary Goldman. On that one, I think I did because I gave like this whole. I talked about the states and abbreviations and his Oreos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and so I'm like, oh, but he is so underrated and everyone should know him.
He was on Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, so I went with a guy and his name is Chad Daniels. This guy was born in 1975. Most of his comedy is about being a single dad, right? He has two kids. So his name is Chad Daniels, but his fans know him as Dad Chaniels because that's all of his jokes. There is some language in here. But really, it's like he gives his daughter a chore list and he says, here's your 3 chores. She says, Dad, what's on your chore list? And he goes, really? He's like, think about everything in this house. Take away your 3 chores. That's mine.
Yep.
That's my chore list. And it's just like relatable comedy because he talks back to his kids and they're grown. They're like 17 and 18. But it is like genuinely funny and relatable. And more people should know about this guy.
Yeah, I've seen clips.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those you catch like 10-minute clips.
Daniels.
Yeah, Chad Daniels.
Yeah.
And see if you can find him on a, I don't know, Tonight Show or whatnot, because he could clean it up a little bit. But he's great.
For this category, it is stand-up act you can recite. And I am talking specifically about one stand-up special and not anything else about this person. Okay? Look.
Okay.
It's Bill Cosby himself.
Oh.
Okay.
At one point in my life, I could do probably with 96% accuracy.
You do a type 5?
The entire thing. Every bit of it. From the $17,000 Ferrari to the chocolate cake to, what the name of the child is. Every bit I had memorized. It was the jokes on the playground. Like, I am, what third grader is walking around quoting entire stand-up specials
Eating a pudding pop.
of a dad
Yeah.
dad humor, right? And it really did inform my appreciation of storytelling and dad humor. I've always liked it. I've always liked self-deprecation, storytelling, and dad humor, and that's kind of laced throughout a lot
Yeah,
of what
We
we've
call it
talked about today.
self-depreciation.
Self-depreciation.
I call it self-effacing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's fine.
But I don't appreciate anything that happened
That's fair.
after his show, which I did watch every episode of. I don't appreciate the person. I don't condone anything, but I will have to say I loved as a child. For some reason, I loved a dad talking about his experience and could, at one point in my life, again, 96% accuracy, quote the entire thing.
So good.
Ridiculous.
Okay.
And I can't go back and watch it. So
Yeah, of course
it will
not.
it will just live in my brain, and I will
I
go
would-
back to elementary school me and be happy.
It would just be funny, like in that frame, in those goggles,
Yeah.
to see you perform this act, though, at that
Yeah,
time.
it
Right.
would be. Like,
Yeah.
I was literally on the bus, like home, just
Yeah.
doing bits from the thing. And I'm sure it wasn't funny at all,
Yeah.
but I thought it was hilarious to be like, let me tell this joke from this thing. Oh, I'm so grown up talking about just normal life observation stuff. But
Dead.
again, I want to move on from it. Please, Joel, what do you think?
All right, I'm going to recite this from memory. Well, kind of. The walkie-talkie was a military invention. Usually military stuff has strong names like Apache helicopter and Tomahawk missile. Walkie-talkie? How did that slip through the system? Was a general talking to some guy and he's like, "What do you have there, soldier?" "Well, it's a new communication device. It's untethered, which enables the troops to speak effectively when they're afield." "What's it called?" "Walkie-talkie." "Look, I'm walkie and I'm talkie. Now you walkie-talkie, General. Are you walkie and talkie?" I'm doing Brian Regan.
Yep.
Brian Regan, I have the I Walked on the Moon DVD. I own that. I own his live album as well, and I would listen to this over and over and over again. Keep in mind, kids, this was the days before streaming was widely available, and so this is kind of what you did. You listen to the same things over and over again. And Ken, I was one of those guys that would quote Brian Regan. And in fact, to this
everybody loved
day,
that.
all of us, every now and then something will happen. Like the other day, we were out at some camping or something, and one of the young men said something, and I totally started quoting Brian Regan to him. And he's like, "You know Brian Regan?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Do I know Brian Regan?"
We were best friends.
Look at how old I am right now.
Look at this BYU shirt.
So I do feel like, yes, he can take the yelling a little too far. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we got the joke. The joke was good. The yelling kind of pulled away from it. I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But he really is one where I laugh so hard at his comedy special. Just that line of "I walked on the moon." The setup and the punchline was amazing. I find him funny, even though you guys may not. So I'm going to
may
stand
not.
on that hill and laugh at Brian Regan because I think he's funny. And I can recite most of that CD by memory and DVD.
All right, Kent, take us home. What do you got?
18 years ago, I saw the funniest 6-minute stand-up act. And I quote this thing weekly. Should I? No, because I shouldn't. Because it uses an accent that I am not allowed to use.
French?
But in the privacy between my daughters and I, and especially when they're talking about getting their nails done.
Oh, no. Crystal gel.
Crystal gel for your nail.
Yeah. Oh, no. Sparkle
What is
like
that?
diamond in the sky. Crystal gel.
You have boyfriend?
Don't know.
Angela?
Like cheerleader or model.
I don't know this.
Something pretty.
Really? You've never heard this?
I don't know it.
Wow.
What is it?
You like crystal gel for your nail? The best thing you can have for your nail makes it
It's-
like diamond in the sky.
You gotta
like crystal
stop.
That is
gel.
the weirdest French accent I've ever heard.
It's Vietnamese, and I shouldn't
What's
be doing
the name
that.
of the
Angela Johnson.
Okay.
It's
Well,
called Nail Salon.
We'll look it up.
And listen, I went on the YouTube comments.
Oh my gosh, I
and
forgot.
it's funny because Angela Johnson has been questioned about this. Like, do you think
Oh,
do you
I
think
saw
that's
her on
aged well?
Reels.
And she goes, actually, I got she got, this sounds wrong, but like the Vietnamese community is way behind this act because it does totally get the nail salon experience right. And I always quote this somehow when someone says like even if I hear the word pretty, it's like, you look so pretty, like model, cheerleader, so pretty. Or if my girls are talking about nails, I say crystal gel for your nail. Mm-hmm. Weekly, I go through this whole set. And I shouldn't. I know it. What I just did, wrong. But also it's comedy. Just, anyways, if you feel bad about it, go read the YouTube comments. Vietnamese people are totally fine with this.
They're fine with us doing
By the
it,
way,
Kent.
this video has 46 million views. This thing is a phenomenon.
I am 200,000 of them.
Isn't it so
I've seen
good?
it so many times.
And it's a 20-year-old act.
And you got to remember, this is like earlier days of YouTube when it was almost like a book club where you would like go and you'd have to like share with people or like a potluck.
Yes.
Where you go, oh, this is the video I found. It's
And-
called
and you-
Evolution of Dance.
Yeah, and you stand behind them and you're like, you think it's funny?
Yeah. Did you like this one? But
Like, I've seen it before.
yes, Angela
Angela Johnson is hilarious, and that act is, I think, the
It's
gold
legendary.
standard.
It really is legendary.
I feel like I did something wrong there.
You kind of did. What a weird note to end on.
Both did.
Comedy, though, right?
That fixes everything. But let us know if that's our list of stand-up comedians that we appreciate or don't appreciate, but we want you to play along on our social media channels. So let us know your thoughts on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, because we want to hear from you about who makes you laugh.
Listen to our lists and feel free to suggest, like, hey, you always like self-depreciating. You like,
Facing.
do you like dad humor? You like yelling? Wait, none of us like yelling. But
Joel's okay with it.
If you are inspired to suggest comedians that we should check out, please do. All right, before we go, we want to thank some patrons in a couple special categories, including the I Am the Listener tier, which is Sawyer Western, Mrs. Robinson, Casey Cummings, Juice the Cooler King Swallow, Some Guy, Jennifer Kilkowski, Taylor Sanderson, Saint Shannon and Sir James West, Rocky and Steph, Adam and Rachel Crump, Ryan and Marley, Lady Terry A. Finley, and Scott Sprague thinks Joel should give specific reasons why he wouldn't want to be Theon Greyjoy.
It reeks.
Thank you, No.
No, we're good. And then the Baking Council, which is Debbie Foster, Glow Clendaniel, our favorite couple, the Madsons, the other Brit, Johnny English, Star Wars expert Kyler, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Nicole D. Kale, and Beaker.
Thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons. You are the crystal gel for our nail.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll watch it. We'll get it.
I get it. But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can find me performing with Quickwits to perform at the studio at the Parker Theater. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
You can find me at Twitter at Kenny3DD. You can find me on Instagram at Ken C. Dunn. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Zachary Western. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Please like that Facebook page and then go to @Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. After you've done that, go to tpublic.com/Baconsale and get yourself some merch. And then if you like what's going on here and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale. Support starts at just $3 a month and you can get access to all sorts of behind the scenes fun, including what we just kind of go on about cell phones.
It was Tech Talk on this week's Bacon Bit.
Oh, geez. And soon to be Reports of New York. That'll be fun.
New York Minutes.
Patreon.com/Baconsale. So until next time, I'll be here all week. Try the veal. Tip your waitresses. Hashtag sneeze twins.
No, that's not what we're talking about today.
I also want to follow. What?
I thought we were
gonna
doing
jump the gun.
I thought you were saying it's not what we're talking about today. Do you have more quotes?
I do. I have one.
Go
Okay,
for it.
good. If you swear at the audience a lot, it's apparently hilarious.
Depends on how tall you are.
I'm blue at BYU. I'm not blue in comedy.
Hecklers, especially in a modern
Yes.
social media area, they are absolutely planted on purpose.
Kent classic. Nothing pre-1980.
I like this guy edited.
Yeah, cerulean. I'm gonna just use a funny voice and talk like this. Everyone will love it.
He's like Dane Cook's uncle.
I wish they were laughing at my jokes.
Improv comedians.
Who's on top of the world? Okay, well, I think that I would.
I'm on top of the world.
Let's just,
I see what you did there.
just cut that whole thing out. Okay, for mine,
Cutting out because of my joke, Zach.
It didn't land because I wasn't listening.
Didn't work. Cut it.
because of the way he talks.
Your cats don't laugh with you?
I know, weird, right?
Yeah.
One of them does, but
That's creepy.
It's kind of creepy.
Kent?
I know. I'm so sorry.
We started Baconsale. We made a blood oath to never bring her up. The blood oath means nothing.
He makes you feel bad for, I don't know, existing. Joel, do you say self-depreciating?
Yes.
Huh.
Deprecating. Depreciating?
Yeah, you've been saying depreciating,
Could be either.
which technically is right.
I say self-effacing.
That's probably the way I'm going to say it from now on.
There's words. Okay.
Hey, thesaurus. Thesaurus.
Deprecating.
All right, we did
Well,
over.
I was.
I will take you all down with me. What I just did, wrong. Comedy, though, right?
Comedy.
I ate the Pope.